Hi, I'm Kristen White, and I invite you to join me each week as I interview experts who talk about the things that matter to you here on The Ripple Effect. Hi everyone, I'm your host Kristen White. You know, there's a world of good news out there. Let's start in Canada with some nearly naked news. He's called the Hitchhiker. Now, gitch in Canada is just another word for underwear. So let's meet a man who stripped down and hit the road to raise awareness for testicular cancer.
When Mark McIntyre hops out of bed these days, it doesn't take much to get out the door.
Some Stanfield's wool socks. It's got some great Merrill boots.
This 43-year-old from King City, Ontario, is doing what many would say takes balls. He's hitchhiking across Canada in the middle of November, raising awareness about testicular cancer and other cancers affecting men below the waist.
Guys, check your boys, right?
Diagnosed with testicular cancer at 38 years old, this actor and comedian admits how he found out he had cancer was a little unorthodox.
I worked for the University of Toronto, something called the Standardized Patient Program, and they hire actors to role play with med students. And some of the stuff actually gets into the physical realm. So if you're willing to do it, they'll check your prostate, check your testicles. And I decided that this would be a good idea, and luckily it was. And at the last one, in the first year I was doing it, the urologist that was teaching the class found a small lump on my testicle. He gave me his card and just said, "You need an ultrasound."
Now cancer-free, Mark is spreading the word in just his gitch, gonch, or ginch. Beginning his journey in Vancouver Wednesday, he now has 21 days to make it cross-country to Truro, Nova Scotia. He's still in his underwear, but this campaign gets him up close and personal with Canadians.
If they love this campaign and they think this is neat and they want to give me a ride and meet up and have some fun, I'll give them some free Stanfields. You can go to that site, hitchhiker.com, and you can give me a ride. And if not, and I'm in trouble, I'm on the streets thumbing it, stop on by. I'm pretty recognizable.
And this morning he met with media, showing off one of the 21 different pairs of underwear he'll be wearing throughout the journey.
My Stanfield's boxer briefs, and today's versions are actually organic. Since we're here in BC, we thought we'd wear the organic kind.
Then it was time to hit the road again, relying on the kindness of Canadians to help him to get to his next stop, hoping to be in Revelstoke by tonight.
I gotta get to Truro, Nova Scotia in 21 days for cancer research.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Well, here's some couple of American dollars.
Fair enough. Thanks, gentlemen. Have a great day. I will. I'll keep warm, I promise. Someone will pick me up. It'll happen. Have a good day, guys. I appreciate this. $3 for testicular cancer. There you go. Not bad. Below the belt awareness. I want to ride, though.
Mark has raised $32,000 for men's cancer awareness, not in a suit, but in his underpants. You might say he's got some courage. If you're like me and you love chocolate, here's a sweet story of chocolate love. Peace Corps volunteers are choosing chocolate to lift Africans from poverty. Let's check it out.
My name is John, and I am the CEO of Maricas. When I meet someone, I tell them that Maricas chocolate is some of the best chocolate you will ever taste. It's made from some of the world's best quality cocoa, found and sourced right here in Madagascar. These beautiful textured pods are magic. They're the root of where our chocolate is found. You don't find these types of cocoa pods really in any other place on the planet. What gets me really excited about Maricas is not only that we produce amazing quality chocolate, it's that we go far beyond fair trade. Meet La Latina. He's one of the many farmers we work with directly, and he grows some of Madagascar's best quality cocoa. We really value farmers like La Latina. We offer them a better than fair price, and we encourage them to grow.
Taloha zany vatra teto an-tanàna tamin'ny exportateur teto. Fa ankehitriny zao dia nahita ny mpivanga vaovao lo avy any ivelany nitrandraka ahay teto ka ankehitriny za mandafaka ao amindro amin'ny prix tsara sady stable ary mandoa vola isaka za magnano livraison amindro. Magnantegna za iaraka miasa mety iaraka miasa aminakazy mandritra ny taogna maro ary afaka koa mety magnantegna koa za ro agnampy fokon'olo agnatin'ny fokontany misy zay ary.
We pride ourselves on investing in the farmer. We train them, we give them equipment, and we make sure they continue to grow magnificent crops. And that's great sustainability. One of our most important values is to be able to create jobs and create wealth in Africa. This is Sina. Her job pays her enough money to provide for her whole family.
Basically, you have 65% of the world's cocoa comes from Africa, always has. The statistical equivalent of 0% of the world's chocolate is actually made there. And when you actually take the time to make the chocolate locally, source all of your ingredients locally, the packaging, all of your partners are local, you're creating a far larger value than what you would do if you were to only source the cocoa from Africa.
My vision for Maricas is to create great business for our partners, prosperity for our farmers, and sustainable development in Africa.
The fruity cacao chocolates can be found online and in some specialty markets. You know, there is a world of good news out there, and I'm your host, Kristen White. Let's start a ripple. Coming up next, author April Ford. Sometimes life just has its challenges. What do you do when you're encountering a setback in your life? Well, today my guest, April Ford, is an author, and she is an expert on how you bounce back when you've had some incredible setbacks in your life. Thank you for being here, April.
Thank you, Kristen. Pleasure to be here.
So share with us a little bit about what's happened in your own life.
Well, you know what? I've overcome a lot of tragedies, like you said, obstacles or setbacks, but you know what? There is hope out there. All you have to do is believe in yourself and believe in God. And you've just got to push through it and know that if anybody can do it, you yourself can, because I'm living proof of that.
You know, it's so interesting because I know that sometimes things just come up unexpectedly.
Right.
You know, we get in an accident, we get a diagnosis that something is going on in our lives, or we find out that there is a tragedy that's happened to someone that we love.
Right.
And our first response is just to kind of crawl up and
collapse.
Yeah,
right.
in the bed.
Right, and that's natural. I mean, we're all human. We're all, you know, we reserve the right to be angry or sad or depressed or stressed out, but you can't be in that, you know, in that space, in that time forever. You're not going to move forward in your life or even prosper or progress or grow and blossom to who you really are if you stay in that state.
So I know that you say that there is an equation, a formula for happiness. Can you share that with us? Yes,
you know what, since publishing the book Chase the Challenge and Conquer, that's one of my most popular questions is that, you know, April, after all that you've gone through, all the tragedies and setbacks, even at a young age, how are you able to stay happy and successful and prosper? And that's, I guess, the, you know, million-dollar question. And my response to that is there is an equation for happiness, success, and prosperity. And that's why I created the 4-Step 4Rs program, which is a spinoff of Chase the Challenge and Conquer. And I really address that important question because I do get it a lot from a lot of the readers. And it is important for me to share, you know, what exactly I did to overcome all of my tragedies and setbacks.
So share with us, because I know we all want to know, what are these 4 Rs?
The 4 Rs for the 4-Step program is, you know, recognize, respond, reevaluate, and rebalance. And I really think it's imperative that we find the 3 variables in our life, and that's the whole mind, body, and soul, and to take a holistic approach.
Let's break down these 4 R's. So the first one is recognize. What do you mean by recognize? What do we need to recognize?
Yeah, so we need to recognize what our life or symptoms is telling us. Are we tired? Is our body fatigue? Am I not motivated? Am I not focused? So there's daily indicators on what's going on, in our life.
So what's the second R?
So that's respond. Now that you're able to see, what areas you have a surplus or deficit in, respond to it. Come up with an action plan, set goals, and work with a life coach, and sit down and, strategically work on the areas that need addressing.
Great. That sounds like very practical advice that, it is important to have a vision or a plan of where we want to go next, even if we're just taking baby steps to get there.
Right. It takes baby steps.
All right. So recognize, respond, and what's the number 3?
Reevaluate.
Reevaluate. Okay.
And that's kind of doing your milestone or checkpoint. Now that you came up with the plan, check in with yourself or check in with whoever's helping you maybe 30 or 60 or 90 days later and see what's working and what's not.
How do you wrap it all up? Like, what's the thing that brings it all full circle?
I would say the 4th step is to rebalance, knowing what works and what doesn't work, because what you figured out through that process, say 30, 60, 90 days, things are going well, you're maintaining your happiness, your success, and you're prospering in your life, and you're feeling that moment of content. And what if a year later something changes? Is that equation that you figured out, is it working? So maybe you need to restart the cycle and recalibrate and rebalance your equation for happiness.
I think that there's a really important point here, April, is that, when we have a challenge in our life or a setback, we can't return to the life that we once knew.
Right.
It's hard to go back to the happiness that we had in our marriage if we're divorced. It's hard to go back to the success we had in a job if we're no longer working for that company, or if that job or business was shut down.
Right.
So I think that the rebalancing oftentimes is just this whole reorganization of, how do we go forward when what brought us happiness in the past no longer exists?
Yeah, because your life is fluid. It's not static, and that's the key to prosper, to blossom. Find your passion and let it blossom. And when I say that, you've got to be able to recognize what stage are you in your life, what motivates you, what drives you.
So I want to talk about your book for a little bit. You've got this incredible book that you've written, Chase the Challenge and Conquer. Tell me a little bit about, why did you write this book?
I've always had the inclination to write, Chase the Challenge and Conquer. My true passion is in writing, so I love to write, and I've always had the feeling within me, even at a young age, that I've always wanted to help people overcome their tragedies and help them heal.
Do you mind sharing with us, inside the book, do you tell any part of your personal story? Is there a certain story you'd like to share with us about something that you've had to overcome in your life?
At a young age, I've had a lot of misfortunate circumstances that happened to me out of my control. And most recently, I became a widow 2.5 years ago, so that was a heartbreak setback. But I'm just at a place now, most recently, I am at a happy place. But I still have moments, kids and I still have moments, but overall, I'm happy, at a happy place, but it would be happier if I could make somebody else happy and share all this joy and my blessings.
Right.
I did launch my company, Joy, and it's inspired by my middle name, Joy, and it's actually an acronym. It stands for Joys of Yah. Yah's short for Yahweh, translating to God. And what else do I have going on? Oh, I'll be speaking at the World Conference in Miami, and it's sponsored by Oxygen Magazine, and it's hosted by fitness celebrity expert herself, Jennifer Nicole Lee.
Great.
So I'm excited for that as well.
Well, it sounds like your career as a celebrity author is definitely taking off, and thank you for being here with us on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next, get naturally fit with holistic fitness expert Kimberly Johnson.
guys, I'm Kimberly Johnson. Welcome back to A Minute to Fitness. Now I'm going to show you push-ups today. We can do push-ups anywhere in the house. You can do them on a countertop, so it's a little elevated. So I've got a bench here, and I'm going to demonstrate an elevated push-up. You want your hands just a little bit more than hip distance apart. You're going to focus about probably 10 to 12 inches in front of you, so your chin's not tucked and it's not way back. Our spine should stay aligned. So what we're going to do is bring the elbows out, chest to the floor, and back up. You want to stay in that nice straight spinal position. Your belly button's drawn towards your spine. So you just want to kiss your spine with your belly button, and we're going to exhale and inhale. Good. This is a great exercise for the chest. You're using your core muscles, our pecs, and your arms. So a little tricep. Beautiful. So now, if you go in a little bit closer, it's a little more challenging. And you could do more of a tricep push-up where you bring your elbows back. There's a lot of variations of push-ups. Wider, especially if you're new, go wide, it's a little bit easier. All right, guys, that's your Minute to Fitness today. So good job. If you do push-ups every day, you're gonna really strengthen the core, the chest, and the triceps. And we all love great triceps. So what I want from you guys is if you have a question or a situation, is please feel free to email me here at The Ripple Effect, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a great day, guys. Good job.
Coming up next, brain expert Dr. John Turner. Hi, I'm Kristen White, host of The Ripple Effect. If you enjoy the interviews on the show, well, I have good news for you. You can learn more from these amazing experts who appeared on the show. All you need to do is go to the website, KristenWhiteTV.com, and guess what you'll find there? An extended interview, more than 15 minutes long, about all of the extra wisdom that we just couldn't even fit into the show. So go to Kristen White TV online, look up your expert's name, and learn everything else that they had to contribute that we simply couldn't fit into the show. See you on the website. Many of you have heard about a near-death experience. So what really happens to the brain at the moment of death? Well, my guest today is Dr. John Turner. He's a neurosurgeon from Hawaii, and he's come all the way here today to talk about near-death experiences. And I'm really excited to have you here on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, Kristen, with you.
So now your background is as a neurosurgeon. You've worked with a lot of patients. Tell me a little bit about what you have seen and witnessed yourself inside your own practice.
I've analyzed this carefully because, first of all, I was an engineer and a physicist. And then I went to neurosurgery. And then I was in neurosurgical practice on the big island of Hawaii, the only neurosurgeon there. So I work with death and dying a lot. But I've really been interested in what happens at the moment of death, and then what happens to those who we call near-death survivors. And there's a lot of recent interest in this. Just in the last month or so, this article, a Newsweek article about proof of heaven, has made people realize, well, wait a minute, when we die, maybe it's not just lights off. So what I like to talk about is what does happen at the moment of death and what happens after death of the physical body.
You know, I think that this is such an interesting topic, Dr. Turner, because there are so many of us who have loved ones who they pass on. And we always wonder, you know, what happens to that person, that husband, that wife, that child, when they go on to heaven, so to speak?
It's important to know that, and everyone wants to know. And the question is it a matter of faith? Is it a matter of science, or can the two be blended somehow to teach us what happens? And I feel the near-death survivors, such as those in a coma that may have died but didn't, those who actually were near death, where they have flat brainwave, we have an excellent case of that with Pam Reynolds.
Right.
And that's taught us that, yes, here's a woman who was near death. She had no blood flow to her brain. It was stopped for surgery. And in fact, the bed of the table was tilted to drain all the blood from her head so they could open up and fix an aneurysm vessel. Well, what happened, she was also connected to the brainwave monitor. So we know she had a flat line. She also had in her ears plugs that produce 100 decibel clicks. Now that's a loud sound. If you have that in your ear, you really can't hear a conversation. But she reported conversations during the time when she was supposedly dead. So it's a very important case. So there are many things now that have led me to conclude that there's no question about it. Consciousness is not produced by the brain. It survives death of the physical body.
You know, it's interesting because we have seen these case studies like you talked about where someone has had a near-death experience and they say that it changed the way they wanted to live their life.
Well, at the moment of death, something very interesting happens. There's a clarity that comes. And I saw this in the case of my mother. I was right there at her bedside. And after laying in a coma, not a coma, but a deep sleep for 3 weeks, she suddenly opened her eyes and she looked right at me. No expression on her face. And I took that moment to get close to her, if I may come a little closer. Yeah. And I said, Mom, I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. I said, because of you, Mom, we're going to be just fine. So you can go now. You don't have to worry. Well, what happened? She closed her eyes, turned her head, and was back in this deep sleep. Well, I set my clock for 2 hours, because every 2 hours I would turn her. And I had this dream, Kristen. And in the dream, I'm at the hospital, have on a white coat, and the nurse says, Dr. Turner, please, can you look at your mother? And I turn around, and there is a row of beds, and there she is in a bed. Mm-hmm. And I took out my pen, and on the bed sheet I wrote, no oral intake for 3 weeks. Family does not wish to push fluids. And as soon as I signed my name, it was like an order sheet, I woke up. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I went in, and that was that.
I'd love to talk to you a little bit about your book, Medicine, Miracles, and Manifestation. So in your time as a neurosurgeon in hospitals, watching people go through death experiences and near-death experiences, what have you learned about what happens at the moment of death?
I've learned that as doctors, and particularly neurosurgeons, there are times when we can bring someone back from that death. But when we can't, we've got to realize that it was supposed to be that way. There may be many karmic reasons that I could never understand why this person can't be saved. But we've got to do the best we can do it. That's why we keep trying. But we've got to learn sometimes when to let someone go. And that's very difficult, especially in the case with the child, as you've seen in that first chapter of the book. That's very difficult. But that's the reason I wrote the book. I said, if it benefits at least one person, then I'll be happy.
I just want to thank you so much for your drop of wisdom today.
Well, you're welcome, and I should be thanking you for this privilege.
Thank you. Coming up next, your telephone to heaven, Kimberly Cusimano. You know, every week we are looking for inspiring stories. So if you have a video, seen a video, or you want to create one, let us know by sharing it with us on YouTube at Kristen White TV online or on Facebook at Kristen White TV. And your good news story may end up being broadcast here on our Transformational TV network. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to use your intuition? How can you access this intuition and bring it into your everyday life? Well, my next guest is here from Los Angeles. Her name is Kimberly Cusimano. Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how you can use certain techniques that will help you access your intuition.
Well, there's several ways. Everybody is intuitive. Everyone has a psyche. Everyone has a sixth sense, whatever you care to label it, or an instinct. You can label it spirit, soul, life force, whatever you care to label it, creating and promoting the healing within. So if you go and you do acupuncture, you're doing it with needles, you're doing Reiki, you're doing it with your hands, but it's all a modality of movement of energy to promote healing within the body.
Reiki, so that's R-E-I-K-I.
Correct.
It sounds like a foreign word.
Okay, well Reiki is a word, Japanese word, and Rei, R-E-I, is pronounced Rei. And it is spiritual wisdom, and Ki, K-I, is much like Chi. It's our life force, our energy. So it's spiritual wisdom, movement of energy. And we all have a soul, a spirit, a life force like we spoke of. And so that is movement of it. Acupuncture, you use needles. Reiki, you use your hands.
What I love about it is it has this sense of empowerment. You know, that each one of us can, in a sense, channel this divine energy.
You can be standing at the sink doing dishes, and you're in some form of meditation there. You're channeling something at all times. But we're not taught that we're doing that. We're taught that we have a thought, but thought is energy. And thought is a process of energy and processing it. So are you going to go to the negative, or are you going to go to the positive with that?
One of the things that I love about this whole concept of energy medicine, and we're hearing a lot about it in the news as an alternative treatment for people who have, illness, whether it's inside the body or they're having mental, emotional challenges. How can someone use Reiki in their life to help them feel better?
Well, usually the practice of Reiki, I mean, you can sit in a chair and do Reiki on yourself, which is a way that we teach it. Or you can go to somebody that's a Reiki practitioner, lay on a massage bed and have Reiki done. It promotes the healing in the physical body. But it's also a thought process and a state of mind and a way of life. And things that I'll be seeing and hearing to deliver to you for your comfort and your healing, that she's really okay, but it will always be things I know nothing about. So,
right now, we're just talking hypothetical, but what we do have arranged is we have somebody sitting in our green room who you're going to be giving a reading to in just a little bit. What I would love to do is I'd like to take a quick break and see you in action in the green room. So if you could just stay with us, we'll come right back, and Kimberly will work with someone she's never met before.
I haven't.
But meanwhile, I did just want to thank you for being here and talking to us about how you bring through this love to other people.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a grandmother, older energy or guide around you, and I feel like a V with that. Older energy.
No.
You don't know that V?
No.
Okay, I think you're going to find that out, but I'm going to move forward. There's an emotional separation here. There's definitely a separation in the two energies, but okay, honey, I don't feel deceased.
No.
Okay, it's not deceased.
No.
No, but you're looking?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like she has a loud voice, female energy, very loud, comes through in a strong energy, almost like I'm hiding out. I feel like I'm a little bit hiding out, and I feel shame surrounding this situation.
Yes.
And I feel as though the worry that you're carrying is affecting not only your space in your mind and your mental mind, very much affecting your space in your home and your worries. Hold on, sister, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, we're getting there, honey. Your sister, but you two are so different. I get such a loud energy with her. But you can't change her. You can't change her. You have two boys.
Yes.
And you have a girl?
Yes.
My goodness, how old are you? You look so young. Okay, going back to looking at the sister and looking at the energy that's missing is not so much missing as hiding out with more shame, and I really feel like that your connection with her will be very good. Why am I getting dragonflies?
It's my favorite. I love dragonflies.
I keep getting dragonflies around you, like all the dragonflies around you. What is that symbolic of for you?
It's one of the things we've always collected, whether it be a pendant or a hairpiece or just we like looking at them.
Okay.
That was something we always did together.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure sitting with you today. You're more than welcome.
And we're back here, and wow, Kimberly, I just wanted to thank you so much for being here and coming all the way from California and sharing your gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you were inspired by some of our experts, I encourage you to take action. Maybe it's later today, maybe it's tomorrow, or sometime this week. Often, all it takes is one word, one sentence, or one thought to completely transform your life. I'm your host, Kristen White. Let's start a ripple.